I'd also, we're talking about like teaching to entrepreneurs. Also, we mentioned I have 2 little kids, so I just want to get your thoughts on parenting, and in particular, there's an idea that I've been kicking around for a few months, which is that children are going to be they're sort of the highest leverage for the story of interbeing or the ascent of humanity. Like, they're going to amplify everything, and so if we can teach them the right things or provide the right conditions for them, then they'll just be who they are, and everything will accelerate from there. What do you think is important in the parenting aspect of the story of interbeing, or from a teaching aspect?
Yeah. There's so many ways I can answer that, and it's hard to do it outside of context as like general principles. But I could say, first, quite simply, avoid manipulating them through punishment and reward, which instills the habit of conditional self-acceptance. Like, a lot of it is avoid this, avoid that, because we have a lot of habits of separation. Another one is to, like, do not teach them insincerity. This is one thing. This is like a small thing, but it's actually pretty important. I never tell my children to say please, thank you, or I'm sorry. When I, especially thank you and I'm sorry. What do you say? Thank you. What do you say? I'm sorry. So you're basically teaching them to be insincere, to say thank you when they don't actually feel thankful, or to say I'm sorry when actually they're feeling resentful. And the I'm sorry then becomes a token of submission rather than an apology, which now is rampant in our culture. Another thing I would say is I do my best to maintain a true vision of who they are and encourage them to know themselves as they are, rather than through a lens of judgment. I signal to them that they are trustworthy by not overprotecting them or hovering, but allowing them to experience the actual physical consequences of their mistakes.
Which one of these do you have the sort of the hardest time allowing yourself to do?
For me, the hardest, those have come quite intuitively. The one that is the challenge for me is discerning when to set a boundary and what the boundary should be. Because what I'm saying is not like that's not a total lack of boundaries, and let them just do whatever they want. Like I said before, we strictly limit screens. And I wouldn't let a 2-year-old go out and play in traffic. In general, I will protect them from risks that are beyond their understanding, that are beyond their comprehension.
Yeah.
So I will let a 3-year-old play with a knife. Hey, buddy, it's sharp. Be careful. If you're not careful, you'll cut yourself. And so, I mean, this happened with I think 2 of my sons, actually. Matthew wasn't careful and he cut himself. And, Child Protective Services rushed in and took the kid away. No, but they would if they found out that I let him play with a knife. But what he learned was that knives are sharp. They can cut you. And be afraid of them. Be careful with them, not because dad's ordered you to and will punish you if you touch a knife. The knife will punish you if you touch the knife in the wrong way. So he understands that I'm not the only source of danger in the world. And like knives are sharp, and to boot, dad's pretty smart. He said this knife is sharp and it could hurt me, and it did. Maybe I should listen to him in the future. But if I absolutely prohibit him from ever touching a knife because I'm afraid he'll cut himself, and punish him the first time he touches one and doesn't cut himself, he just grabbed it, by the handle, but I punished him anyway. What he learns then isn't that knives are dangerous. What he learns is dad is dangerous. And that if I can avoid his supervision and punishment, then nothing bad will happen to me. Do you want your teenager to think that? Do you want your teenager to think that if he avoids getting caught, that nothing bad will happen to him? Because he's never actually experienced the consequences of taking too big a risk and getting hurt. Do you want him thinking that when he gets behind the wheel of a car for the first time?
Yeah, it just happened to me with my 3-year-old. I would let her use a knife to cut kiwi or something for the first time, and I was like, I felt this I wanted just to take it away, but I was like, okay,
oh yeah,
just let her try it one time, and then you can take it away. It was an internal battle for me.
It's agonizing. I remember when Matthew was 5, he liked to climb trees, and he's like, "Hi, Dad, look how high I am," and I'm like, almost shitting my pants, and then he goes even higher, and the top of the tree is swaying, and but what I was transmitting to him was, I trust you to make wise decisions. I am telling him, you are capable of making wise decisions, or even you make wise decisions. I see that in you. That's how he learns himself as a wise decision maker. What we project onto our children, they take it on and it becomes true. So if we project onto them, you are incapable of staying safe, so I'm going to have to hover over you all the time, then that's what they learn. And they become incapable of staying safe. If you impose on them, you don't actually want to do any work, and I have to force you to do your chores, or I have to force you to do your homework, then they will embody laziness and have to fight it their entire lives.
Kids love chores. Surprised me a little bit.
Yeah. If you look at them and say, I know that you want to help.
Yeah.
And contribute to this family. Yeah.
This is reminding me of, if the parents are going to control the environment of the kid, and then all of a sudden we learn the government becomes the parent and just, controls everything for us so that we can just be safe and not have to do anything. And I was extending this analogy, I see when I'm trying to control my kid, when I pick them up when they're just not listening to me, and I'm like, okay, it's bath time, we really need to get you in bed, and I see myself physically just pick them up and say, I've had it, you're going in the bath, and I'm like, I'm just controlling them, I'm just using my muscle to just override their free will. And then I see the aspect, going back to the story of interbeing, I see structures and organizations doing the same thing. We're just going to override your free will because we're more powerful.
Mm.
And I see that in me, and then I see it in the world, and I'm like, fuck, like,
Yeah.
why am I controlling so much?
Yeah. And it's also true that children, most of them anyway, thrive on routines. They like regularity and predictability,
Yes.
um, and I don't think that you necessarily have to force them or manhandle them. I received a deep insight into this from a story I read of Milton Erickson. He was a psychiatrist in the mid 20th century, one of the pioneers of hypnotherapy, and just like a brilliant, brilliant man. And he told the story of the family was all hanging out, in the evening, and the 3-year-old daughter wants attention from the mom, but the mom is reading a newspaper. So she goes up and rips the newspaper out of her mom's hand and throws it on the floor. And Milton Erickson says, Stacy, give the newspaper back to your mother. And she says, I don't has to. So then he takes her very gently and takes her onto her bed or onto a chair or something, and just holds her. And that's fun for a while, but after a while she says, let me go. And he says, I don't has to. And she screams and struggles and stuff. Let me go. I don't has to. And after a long time of that, finally she says, okay, I'll give mommy the newspaper back. And what does he say to her? You don't has to.
Mm.
And she says, oh, but I wants to. I'm not going to overinterpret that story, but I want it to lodge in you, because it kind of demolishes these various ideologies we have about, or these like categories even of what's going on here. Oh, there you are. It demolishes like even these categories of control or not control.
Mm-hmm.
There's other ways to think about things.
Hey friend, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this particular clip, then I have something else I want to tell you about, which is the League of Superconductors. It's a business mastermind that I run to elevate the greatest change makers of our time. That is people that I like to call quantum entrepreneurs, metaphysical, spiritual teachers, healers, coaches, light workers of different types. And this is a year-long business mastermind starting in May of 2022. So if that's the type of thing that you're looking for, if you're looking to better fuel your mission by having a business that brings in all the abundance you're looking for, that both operates at the 3D level, serving the people of Earth, and at a multi-dimensional level, bringing in all of the higher wisdom and experience that you have access to. That's what we're doing. So if that sounds like something for you, then you can check out the link below, read a little bit more about the program, what we do each month. And I also invite you to apply for a call with me, a strategy session. We can get to know each other. I'll coach you a little bit, and you can decide if that might be the exact thing that you've been looking for. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.